Hey everybody, thank you for joining me and Melissa. Tonight we are in bed with Bob Guiney.
You guys having fun tonight? Come on, let us know it. Don't be bashful, we're here all night. We got nowhere to go. All right, help us out, everybody, come on. We can't start till you're all clapping.
You've had a lot of things going on the past couple years, but you started in reality television.
So, well, actually, I started in music, and then I ended up in reality television, then went back to music. But yeah, reality television is kind of what put me on the map in a bigger way.
Was that strategic at all on your part, or?
No.
I'm sure you told the story tons of times, but how did you end up in The Bachelor? Because that's where I first saw you.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. To be honest with you, my music, I signed a record deal right out of college, and had been doing that pretty much as a full-time job all the way through my 20s. And when I was about 28 or 29 years old, I had gotten a publishing deal, another publishing advance, and decided I needed to do something smart with it. I decided to invest in a mortgage company with my friend who had a lot of experience. I'd never written a mortgage before. And we started this office, and then 9/11 happened, and the refi boom happened, and so the office all of a sudden became really successful with very limited input from me, frankly. And the two assistants at our office there submitted my information to The Bachelor without me knowing it. And what was so comical about it, and why I react so crazily when people go, was this a strategic move? It couldn't have been less strategic, because I literally, I played football in college, and I just had reconstructive surgery on my knee, and I just had Achilles surgery back to back, so I put on like 30 pounds. And I'd never been heavier in my life, and all of a sudden I get a call from a casting person named Lacey Pemberton, who I've since become friends with. And I thought it was a joke, because I didn't submit my own information, and I'd never been fatter. And literally I was sitting there, and she's like, we'd love you to send in a tape of yourself, talk about why you should be the next Bachelor, why you should be vying for Trista's heart on The Bachelorette. And I said, no, thank you, and I have no interest. And she's like, why? I said, I'm not going to be the fat guy in your blooper reel.
Did you go on the show hoping to potentially fall in love, or?
I went on the show open to anything could happen. That's to be honest. I mean, I didn't go on there thinking necessarily that, and I was honest about it. I was like, I'm not going to be so presumptuous to think that I'm going to walk on this show and one of these women are going to want to marry me. And nor am I going to go on there and think that these producers, out of the millions and millions of women in the world, pick the one person I'm supposed to be with. I'm not going to go on with that frame of reference, but I was willing to go in there and say anything can happen, and I'm taking a chance, and these are 25 women that I may never have met otherwise, so I'm going to be open to whatever happens. And that's how I sort of approached it. But I was also, keep in mind, coming off fresh out the Tristan and Ryan romance, which I saw right with my own eyes how genuine that was. And so I was like, wow, there is a chance,
Now, on your season, and I know you've been asked this before, and I have kind of a spin on this question.
Okay.
You had a bit of a reputation.
The Kissing Bandit?
The Kissing Bandit.
Yes.
And then I was watching 2020, and I was like, a producer, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Said you had 5.5.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
What's the 0.5? How do you have 0.5.5?
I said they did an E special after the 2020 special. I was watching it too, going, what the hell is that? And I even said, I'm like, I don't know what the half means. I don't know what that means.
I can only imagine.
I can fill in the blanks in a couple things, but I think it was like a thing that was started by Jimmy Kimmel, actually. I went on Jimmy Kimmel while I was The Bachelor, and it was like my season, the finale hadn't happened yet. And Jimmy Kimmel said, rumor has it, you're racking up the numbers, you're at 5.5. And I was like, first of all, I haven't been alone with 5 women, and second of all, what's a half? And he said it on Jimmy Kimmel, and then all of a sudden it was one of those things that sort of kept going, and now it's like, now it's just sort of accepted as truth, and I'm like, how would that even happen? You've never been alone with 5 people, or a half a person.
Or a half a person, exactly.
I mean, I don't even know what that means. I mean, there's so many millions of ways my head is trying to spin this, but I'm like, I don't know how.
Time to play Quick Lights! Our first caller is Terry from Pueblo, Colorado. It's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hey, Bobby.
It really is you.
I'm calling to let everyone know that it's your birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday,
Aw,
sweetheart.
thanks, Mom.
And now you are on GSN Live.
Yes.
And how did that come to pass?
Well, it's interesting. I started doing programming for The View for ABC right after Rebecca and I got married. I moved to New York, and when I was living in New York, ABC hired me to do all their interstitial programming, which was programming that would run throughout their daytime schedule, and it would be like little live. They were doing this thing that would go all around the country, and so I would go all around the country with everyone from the daytime roster, whether it be soap stars or people from The View, whatever shows were currently on the roster, and we would go do fan events all over the country, and I would cover them, and then they would work them into little, maybe it would be like we'd go do the CMA Music Festival, so they'd have me host the CMA Music Festival, and I would do all these side things with all the actors, with all the fans, and with people from The View, like Rosie O'Donnell and stuff would be there, and we would do all these things that were in the crowd, like crowd related, to show that the stars were interacting with the fans, and it would almost be like little minute long, sometimes 2 minute long, sometimes 30-second long little bits that would run as commercial spots that were live and interactive. Well, Barry Nugent, who at the time was at E, then hired me to do this stuff at E that was different, and then he went over to GSN, to Game Show Network, and when he got there, they were doing this interstitial type show. It was called GSN Live, and he was like, I know a guy who does great work interstitially, and so he called my agent.
The guy who gives great interstitial.
Gives great interstitial. And so they called me, and I went in and booked the job. For me, it's been a lot of fun because I've also been able to mix it in with my other stuff too, with the band from TV, of course, and we get to play. So I'm still getting to do music, which I love to do, but of course it's all for charity. We've raised over $2 million for charity in the last 3 or 4 years that we've been doing it, and the company that I keep in that band is so great. It's Hugh Laurie from House and Greg Grunberg from Heroes. Greg started the whole thing and brought me into it. We did a charity event in Dallas for Chris Harrison, of all people, the host of The Bachelor, who was friends with Greg and of course friends with me, and so we became friends, and Greg invited me to join the band, and the original lineup of the band was Hugh Laurie, Greg Grunberg, James Denton, and me. And since we've added Adrian Pazdar and Jesse Spencer, and Scott Grimes has recently joined in with us from ER, who's a great talent, and we've just had a blast doing it. It's just been a lot of fun, and raising money for charity and doing that, so I want to continue doing that.
Just anticipating the things that she never possesses, yeah. While she's there waiting.
It started with music, Bachelor, Bachelorette, and suddenly your personal life is in People magazine, and people are talking about it, people are gossiping about it.
Yeah.
And it's people they keep up with what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah.
What's that like for you? Is it tough at times, or do you just roll with it?
Well, it is a blessing and a curse. I think one of the obviously I just went through a divorce, and thankfully my ex and I are really good friends. So the positives are when you're involved in charities and you're doing different things, it's great. And then when we got married, it was the cover of People and Us Weekly and everything else, and it was unexpected because we didn't sell our photos, nor did we think anyone would want to buy them. But all of a sudden it was on the cover of these magazines, and it was sort of a nice keepsake at the time. I think if you're gonna be in the press and be happy about the times when you're actually doing something that you want in the press, you also have to understand that sometimes your personal life's going to be exposed in a different way too, and you just have to be willing to accept it.
We're a very bad Hollywood couple. That's all.
I know.
Everybody wants drama.
And ultimately, what you read in People magazine was the honest to God truth. Monica Rizzo did a really nice job with that story, and called me for a comment, and I was like, I ultimately the only comment I can say that it works is, I know she really genuinely wants me to be happy, and I want her to be happy too. So it's a sad time. It's not something to celebrate,
right?
But it is something that at the end of the day we were able to walk away with dignity and be able to love and care for one another. So there you go.
Every one of your stories is so great. I just
You want to talk
the bad
about
story.
I know.
We're
Said something better. I'm looking forward to it.
God, he's dumb.
Yeah, right.
It's a little bit too much for breath of fresh air.
It's really gross how boring I am.
Thank you, everybody. On behalf of all of us at In Bed With, we'd like to wish you a very good night.
Sleep well.
Dream big.
Awaken love.
Some time. Thank you.
Nice, Bob. That's Bob the Bachelor. Sorry, Bachelor.
Once again.
I'm sorry, he was down, so I hit him. Isn't that the way it goes?
Guys, I want you to know, Greg's also the guy at the Kentucky Derby. When a horse goes down, he's like, I'm hungry.
Oh, that is so true.
Kicks a dog when he's down, you know what I'm saying? All right. Thanks for joining in my sorrow, everybody. Here we go. Let's take it up a notch. You guys ready? Come on, put your hands together.